know that He will. Almighty, 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 Creator of His blood inside me, inside me, inside me. We know that He will, who shall we fear? We are omnipotent, Almighty Father, the Father of Abraham, the Father of Isaac and Jacob, the Almighty, and why would we play with? He sent His Son for the nation, the covenant back in our faces. God, He with us, don't care what we face. Where else we gon' go? We gon' trust in His word. Stay on that narrow, don't trust in no turns. Eyes to the east, everybody gon' learn. Put away your sins, are they all about to burn? Past overcoming, got the blood on me. Unforgiveness, let it go, I got the love on me. I believe I got the peace, I got the dove on me. See the kingdom of y'all, I got a bug on me. Almighty, 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 Creator of His blood inside me, inside me, inside me. We know that He will, Scattered for many years, now we back. Mind been renewed from this world, we detached. The judgment is coming by His will, that's a slap. The wilderness is coming by His hand, that's a fact. The ark of the covenant, I was willing, that's a spot. Where He gon' get us? It was prophesied in the land, you was sold by His blood, you gon' rise, you gon' rise. Babylon falling, it all gon' go wrong. Keep them commandments, we tryna go home. Before you serve me, go serve Him on that throne. Walk as He walk, I'ma walk, I'm a clone. Where He gon' get us? Keep commandments, He gon' fight for us. I'ma see how He the light for us. Rhyme on, blow the right noise. Almighty, 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 Creator of His blood inside me, inside me, inside me. We know that He will, Almighty, 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 Creator of His blood inside me, inside me, inside me. We know that He will, Almighty, 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 Creator of His blood inside me, inside me, inside me. We know that He will, Almighty, Almighty, Almighty. Good afternoon, good afternoon, good afternoon, good afternoon, Facebook Live, good afternoon, YouTube, good afternoon, Breaking Strongholds Ministries. Good afternoon, everybody. How's everybody doing this afternoon? I hope today has been a great day for you. Shabbat Shalom, everybody. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom. I hope your week has been a great week. I hope the Most High have really truly blessed you over and abundantly with love, kindness, and joy. I hope the Most High have really truly blessed you over and abundantly with love, kindness, and peace. I hope the Most High has protected your offsprings as well as yourself. I hope He has given you your daily bread for this week. I hope He has given you and provided everything that you needed so that you can be able to provide and take care of your household. My week has been a challenging week, but it's been a trying week. But I now understand. Now I understand. If you could turn to the word, to Exodus chapter 1 through 17. I may be giving out a lot of information today, but It'll all correlate, but you just got to. I'm trying to get through it pretty. Make sure that I can only record for about an hour and a half. So I'm trying to get you the information that you need within the time span. Okay. It says, and Ananias spake all these words, saying, I am Yahuwah thy Ananias, will have brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. And thou shalt have no other Ananias before me, and thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image or any likeness of anything that is in the heavens above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth. Thou shalt not bow down thyself to no Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them, nor serve them. For I, Yahuwah the Ananias, am a jealous Ananias, visiting the iniquities of the fathers upon the children, unto the third and fourth generation of them that hate me, and showing mercy unto thousands of them that love me, and keep my commandments. Thou shalt not take the name of Yahuwah thy Ananias in vain, for Yahuwah will not hold him guiltless that taketh his name in vain. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. 6 days shalt thou labor and do all thy work, but the seventh day is the Sabbath of Yahuwah thy Ananias. In it thou shalt not do any work, thou nor thy sons, nor thy daughter, thy manservants, nor thy maidservants, nor thy cattle, nor thy strangers that is within thy gates. For in 6 days Yahuwah made the heaven and earth, the sea and all that in them is, and rested the Sabbath day. Wherefore, if Yahuwah blessed the Sabbath day and hallowed it, honor thy fathers and thy mothers, that thy days be long upon the land which Yahuwah thy Ananias giveth thee. Thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not commit adultery, thou shalt not steal. Thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbors, and thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's house, and thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife, nor his manservant, nor his maidservant, nor his ox, nor his ass, nor anything that is thy neighbor's. So let us pray this morning, this afternoon. O creators of the heavens and earth, and all radiance and vibrations, soften the grounds of our beings and carve out a space with us where your presence can abide. Fill us with your creativity so that we may be empowered to bear fruits of our missions. Let each of our actions bear fruit in accordance with our desires within your purpose for our life. Bestow us with the wisdom of produce and share where each being needs to grow and flourish. Untie the tangled thread of destiny and that binds us as we release others from the entanglement of the past mistakes. Do not let us be seduced by that which distracts us from our true purpose, but illuminate the opportunities of present moments. For you are the ground and the fruit for vision, the creator, power, and fulfillment. As all is gathered and made whole once again, so let it be. Like I said, good afternoon, good afternoon, good afternoon. YouTube, Facebook, and Breaking Strongholds Ministries. If you could turn to Matthews chapter 4. Matthews chapter 4, verses 1 through 11. Matthews chapter 4, verses 1 through 11. And the key verse is going to be verse 11. The key verse is verse 11. And I'm going to read it to you, and it reads like this, and it says, And then the devil, the Satan of the Hashatan, leaveth him, and behold, angels came and ministered unto him. Then the devil leaveth him, and behold, angels came and ministered unto him. If I may give a title of the text today, the title of the text today is, Did we pass the test? Did we pass the test? That's the title of the text today. The two words I have for you today is the word try or trial. It means to... It's a 14th century word. It's a 14th century word. It means to prove by a test, to purify, to refine as silver 7 times tried. put someone or something to the test. Prove the strength, valor, or worth of. I like that part. Trial or test, or trials or try means to test, prove the strength, valor, or worth of. Okay, the second word is a 13th century word. It's a 13th century definition. It means weak or vulnerable. Weak or vulnerable. Having little physical strength. Not able to bear a great worth. Lacking authority and moral strength. Weakness or weak and vulnerable means having little physical strength, not able to bear great weight, lacking authority and moral strength. Okay, so I also this is what I want you to also keep in the back of your mind as well. Zechariah 13:9. Zechariah 13:9, it says, I will bring a third part through the fire and will refine them as silver is refined, and will try them or test them as gold is tried. And they shall call on my name, and I will hear them, and I will say, it is my people. And they shall say, Yahuwah is my Ananai. Okay? So we're in the book of Matthew, chapter 4, verses 1 through 11. The key verse is verse 11. The key verse is verse 11. And it reads, Then the devil leaveth him, and behold, angels came and ministered unto him. And the title of the text again is, Did we pass the test? Okay, so now when you're looking at this text, right, when we're looking at the situations in life, we're looking at everything that is going on in the world. First, we got to understand who is actually in charge of this world. We got to actually look and see who's actually in charge of this world. Even though we think that the Most High is in charge of this world, but in actuality, the Most High has allowed the Hashatan of Satan to run this world for a certain period of time. Because if we go to Revelation chapter 4 and verse 9, it says, And it was commanded them that they should not hurt the earth, the grass of the earth, neither any green things, neither any trees, but only those men which had not the seal of God, Anani, in their forehead. And them it was given that they should not kill, and to them it was given that they should not kill them, but they should torment 5 months. And their torments was like a torment of scorpions, which he striketh a man. Okay, so that was the most important part of it. What? Okay, Revelation chapter 12 verse 9, it says, And the great dragon was cast out, that old serpent called the devil, and that old serpent, that called the devil and Satan, which deceived the whole world. He was cast out into the earth, and his angels was cast out with him. Okay, so we in Revelation chapter 12 verse 9, we got to understand that the devil, or the Hashatan, was cast down into the earth. He was cast down into the earth. And he was here to control the earth for a certain period of time. Okay, and when we also go to Luke chapter 10 verse 18, it says, And he said unto them, I beheld Satan as lightning falling from heaven. So Satan, these are just confirming who was actually in control of the earth at the time. Who's in control of the world. Who's in control of everything that is upon the earth. Even when you go to Ephesians 6 and 12. But I'm going to read Ephesians 6 and 12 from the Geneva Bible, right? It's Ephesians 6 and 12 from the Geneva Bible. And I want you to hear me when I say this. We understand that the Hashatan fell from heaven, right? Satan fell from heaven. Now he's on the earth. For I want you to understand, it says, for we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the worldly governors. Let me read that over. In the Geneva Bible, Ephesians 6 and 12, it says, for we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, and against the worldly governors, the princes of the darkness of this world, against spiritual wickedness, which are ye high places. So when we look at that, right, we understand that the world, the government that we have throughout the whole world are controlled by spiritual wickedness. And who is the spiritual wickedness? The Hashatan, the devil, that's Satan. So everything that we see that's going on in the world today, it is being ruled by Satan and the Hashatan. Okay? So if we understand that clearly, we got to understand that everything that is being put out in the world today through the government is coming from the Hashatan. It is not coming from the Most High. So whatever decision we decide to make, anything that we decide to do, when it's pertaining to the government and listening to the government from their viewpoint, is coming directly from the Hashatan. Okay? So now when we look at Matthew chapter 4, this is talking about how Yeshua or Yahusha how he came from his baptism. But in the midst of getting ready to go through his baptism, he had to go through some situations. He had to go through a test, a purification test, to see if he would be worthy to be able to do the word of Yahuwah. Ooh, let that resonate with you for a few minutes. He had to go through a test to see if he would be worthy to be able to do the will of the Father. That's what this was in Matthew chapter 4, verses 1 through 11. It was demonstrating to us, his demonstration in Matthew chapter 4 was a demonstration to us that he had to go through he had to go through a purification test to let himself see where he was at and for us to see where he was at in order for him to be able to do the will of the Father. And see, a lot of us have to go through tests every day as a trial and testimonial period. But that trial and testimonial period is for us to see where we are in our walk in faith, in our walk in Yahuwah. That's where every time we get put in a certain situation, it is for us to let us see where we are mentally, physically, emotionally, and logically in Yahuwah. That's why the title of the text today is, Did We Pass the Test? Because the Most High will put us in situations to test us to see where we are logically, physically, emotionally, spiritually, physically, emotionally, and logically. See where we are in His Word and in our life. Because a lot of the times we think we are in we're in one place, but in actuality, we're in a totally different place. Because a lot of times we're not who we think we are. We're so far from who we think we are. And the test reveals us on where we are. But it's just up to us whether we're able to accept the reality of where we are. Because a lot of us are not able to accept where we are spiritually, physically, emotionally, and logically with Yahuwah. That's the fact. Because we're not there because we don't understand the situation. We don't understand that the Creator is putting us through a test, because a lot of the times we can find ourselves in the same situation, doing the same thing, but with different people. And the Most High has been dealing with me on me being put in same situation but with different people, but my response is the same. If you can never learn from your past experiences, how can you move forward in life? That's why I'm saying everything is a test. Everything that we do in life right now is a test, because we're getting ready to evolve and move into another realm. We get ready to go to another place in society. Society is getting ready to evolve, and everybody is not going to be able to evolve or go to that society, because the simple fact is they're not mentally, physically, emotionally, and logically ready for that new environment, because they haven't learned from their previous mistakes. And that's something that we as people have to understand. We got to learn from our previous mistakes. And if we don't learn, we're going to continue to do the same thing over and over and over and over again. But the Most High is going to continue to put us in these same situations until we get it. So this situation right here in Matthew chapter 4 verses 1 through 11 is all about Yahshua is being tempted by the devil, or the Hashatan, or the adversaries. And see, let me go to Job real fast. Job chapter 1 verse 9, 8 or 9, 7 through 9. Because I want us to understand something. Satan is maybe one of the Most High's angels that he's using to prick us of our wicked, to show us where we are. That's what, to me, sometimes I look at it, not saying it's right, but sometimes when I look at the Hashatan of the devil, I look at him as him showing us where we are spiritually, physically, logically, and emotionally. That's his job, is to show us where we at. And it is up to us to be able to take heed to it. Because it's like sometimes we see the devil as if he's not part of the Most High's army. We look at him as if he just a wild man doing what he want to do, how he want to do it, the way he want to do it. But that's not the case in Job chapter 1 verses 7 through 9. It says, "And Yahuwah said unto Satan, Which cometh thou? Then Satan answered Yahuwah and said, From going to and fro in the earth, and from walking up and down in it." Now, Listen to what is actually being transpired here. What's actually going on. Satan and Yahuwah is having a conversation. They are in a group meeting. They're like in a board meeting. And the devil and Hashatan walked into the board meeting as if he was late for the meeting. And Yahuwah said, "Where you been, man? Where you been?" And he said, "Well, I've been walking up and down the earth to see who I can mess with." Listen to the conversation, because sometimes Yahuwah, the Satan, now the Hashatan is there to show you actually what you all about. And then it says, "And Yahuwah said unto Satan, Hast thou considered my servant Job? And there is none like him in the earth, a perfect and upright man, one that feareth Yahuwah, and escheweth evil." Then Yahuwah started talking to Satan about Job. Then Satan answered Yahuwah and said, "Doeth Job fear Ananiah for naught?" So they was basically having a meeting, a conversation in the boardroom meeting about this servant Job. Now, whoever you are, he can still be, the Most High can be having a conversation to Satan about you and your conditions, in your situation, to see where you are. See, the Most High can be having a conversation with the Hashatan and say, "Okay, I want you to mess with whoever is listening to me. I want you to go mess with this person to see whether they're going to deal with me or they're going to hate me for whatever's going on." See, we don't know what the Most High is doing behind curtains. We only see what we see with our physical eyes, and if we're capable, we'll look at it from the spiritual. But we never know what the Most High is doing behind closed doors. We never know whatever situation we're in that God, Most High did not allow Satan to put us in that situation, because he still is part of Yahuwah's control. He's all up under Yahuwah's control. And that's what we have to look at. Is he really part of on the team of Yahuwah to purify us? Yahuwah is using his armies to purify us, for us to see where we are. Because then in Job chapter 3 verse 25, this is what happened. Because whenever Job went through everything he went through, this is what Job said. Because Job did have some issues within himself that the Most High had to purify out of him. And it says, "For the things which I greatly feared has come upon me, and that which I was afraid of is come unto me." See, Job is letting us know that he still has some emotional issues that he was dealing with, that he really was trying to cover up. But the Most High had to reveal it to himself, reveal it to Job, where he actually was in his walk in life. And see, whenever we're going through things in life as the children of the Most High, we have to understand that the Most High is always purifying us to get us to be this righteous person that he wants us to be. But if we view it in a negative way, we would never be able to comprehend what Yahuwah is saying. But if we view it in a righteous way or a positive way, we can grasp and understand. But if we don't do that, our viewpoint of situations is very vital. And it's dealing with me. I'm talking to me this morning, because sometimes I try to do things when the Most High is doing things. But if I try to get in the way of it, I mess it up. But if I allow him to handle it, it all works out for his good. But I try to get in the way of things. Okay? So let us go back to Matthew chapter 4 verse 1. Matthew chapter 4 verse 1. Because I want us to understand that in the days and times that we're in right now, the Most High is purifying. He's separating people. The Most High is separating people. He's separating the wheat from the tares. And how he's separating the wheat from the tares is by he's putting you through trials and tribulations. And he's separating you through them, because whatever decision you make through those trials and tribulations, it's actually revealing you to Yahuwah. He already know how you are, but he's also just revealing yourself to you. Because sometimes we can try to cover up ourselves, but your trials and tribulations will reveal it to you. It's just whether you want to be honest with yourself or not. Everything that you go through and how you handle it is a revelation to you on how you are as a person. And who you believe in and who you don't believe in. So let us go ahead and go to Matthew chapter 4 verse 1 through 11. We're going to read it because I want us to understand something. Yahuwah is all about a higher consciousness of thinking. That's why it's an earthly realm of thinking. It's a heavenly realm of thinking. However you think, whether it's an earthly or heavenly or godly mind of thinking, that shows you where you are. If you're always viewing things from the physical, you can never comprehend the spiritual. But if you're viewing things from the physical, yes, you can comprehend things from the physical. That's why he says, hold on. That's why it says, right, in Isaiah 55 and 11, 55 and 8. Let me go to it. Isaiah 55 and 8. Because the way we think is, and if we're never on a spiritual realm, we would never be able to comprehend it. But if we're on a spiritual realm, we can kind of comprehend what Yahuwah is doing. Alright, Pam, have a good one. It says, for my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are your ways my ways, saith Yahuwah. As for the heavens are higher than the earth, so are my ways higher than your ways, and my thoughts than your thoughts. For as the rain cometh down and the snow from heaven, and returneth not thither, but waters the earth, and maketh it bring forth buds, but that it may give seed to the sower and bread to the eater. So we have to understand that the way the Most High thinks is not the way we think, because he's more on a spiritual, he's the spiritual divine, and we're physically created. So when we're going through things in life, if we always look at it from the physical, we're going to always fail the test. Because the simple fact is, we are spiritual creatures having a physical experience. The spirit is what controls the physical. The physical does not control the spiritual. How you act and how you behave actually tells the person what's actually going on the inside of the body, or what spirit controls the body. Okay? So when we're going to Matthew chapter 4 verse 1, right? Let us go ahead and get started. It says, and then Yahusha, then when, I just use Yeshua. Then was Yeshua led up of the Spirit into the wilderness to be tempted or tried or tested by the devil. Listen to that. And I want us to understand that. That word of, it means by. Okay, let me read it from a different translation. Read it from a different translation. And it's coming out of, this translation is coming out of the Holy Bible from the ancient Eastern text. This translation is coming out of the Holy Bible from the ancient Eastern text. And it reads, it says, and then Jesus was carried away by the Holy Spirit into the wilderness to be tempted by the devil. We got to understand that the devil's job is to tempt us. That is his purpose. That is his whole being, is to test us. That's his job. That's why I just asked, suppose the devil was part of the Most High's, really his part of his angels. And his main job was to test us. The devil wasn't separate. The devil was with. So if we look at it as the devil is with, instead of separate from, the devil is actually doing his job. It's up to us on whether we fail to, we do our job or not. Because I want us to get something. It says, then was Jesus, Yeshua, then was Yeshua led up of the Spirit into the wilderness to be tempted by the devil. Okay, the word tempted means a tried, to be proved by a test, to purify, to refine as silver 7 times tried, to put someone to the test to prove the strength. I like that word. Your test is to prove where you are in your walk in life. That's what the test is all about. Every situation, every obstacle that you're in today is only basically to show you where you are emotionally, physically, spiritually, and logically with Yahuwah. That is what it's all about. And if you're not able to deal with yourself, you're going to continue to fail the test. Okay, and let us go ahead and let me just show you a couple of verses on what it was already prophesied in Genesis chapter 3 that Yahuwah would send him to continue to be a thorn in our side to show us where we are. Let's go to Genesis chapter 3 verse 15. See, this verse is not just for Yeshua. This is for every person on earth, even mainly the Hebrew Israelites, okay, the people. It says, I will put enmity means war. I will put war between thee and the woman, and between thy seed and her seed. Listen to that part again. Listen to that part again, because I think we missed that, right? He said, I'm going to read it out of the ancient Egypt text. It says, I will put enmity between you and the woman, and between her posterity, your posterity, and her posterity. Her posterity shall tread your head underfoot, and ye shall strike him in his heel. Listen, what it's basically saying is that us, because we're his seed, we're the Most High seed, that means that we will always be in physical and spiritual conflict with the Hashatan. We will always be in physical and spiritual conflict with the Hashatan. And then it says, it shall bruise thy head, and thou shalt bruise his heel. Bruise his heel. So that's telling you what we're going to constantly be in war, physically, emotionally, logically, and spiritually at war with the Hashatan throughout our life. But that's something that we have to comprehend as people. This is not just, Satan is not disconnected from Yahuwah. Satan is connected to Yahuwah. Satan's job is to just do his part. As when I go to work every day, my part is to drive a truck. And I do my part every day when I go to work. I am connected to the company that I work for. So that's my part. Satan's job is to tempt us, make us, to purify us each and every day. Let us go to 1 Peter 1, 6, and 7. And see, that's why a lot of the times we fail to test, because we don't comprehend the situation. We don't comprehend the situation. It says in 1 Peter 1, 6 and 7, it says, wherein, what's up, Brother Greg? And tell him. It says, wherein ye greatly rejoice, thou now for a season, if need be, ye are in heaviness through manifold temptation. Listen to that. It says, wherein ye greatly rejoice, thou now for a season, for a moment, if need be, ye are in heaviness through manifold temptation, that the trials of your faith, being much more precious than of gold that perish, though it be tried with fire, might be found unto praise and honor and glory at the appearing of Yeshua the HaMashiach. See, what is being tried right now during this moment is your belief in your faith, your walk in Yahuwah. That is what's being tested. And that is the Hashitan's job, is to test you in this moment. To let you see where you are and see where you need to go, and for you to see what you need to be doing so you can be able to get yourself together. That's what it's doing. That's his job, is to show you where you at. And a lot of us don't see that. Let us go to, let's go back to Matthew's. Let us go to Matthew's. Hold on. Let us go to John 14 and 30. John 14 and 30. In John 14 and 30 it says, hereafter I will not talk much with you, for the prince of this world cometh, and has nothing in me. But the world may know that I love the Father, and as the Father gave me commandment, even so I do. Arise, let us go hence. But what it's basically saying is, the Hashatan, the devil, is the prince of this world. So when we understand that the Hashatan is the prince of this world, we got to understand that everything that happens, it is he's doing it to reveal to us, to get us to fall the way he wants us to fall. See if we're really truly worthy to be in the kingdom. Because whatever action we does is actually revealing to the Most High what type of children we are. And see, I know my children. I know my children by what they say and by what they do. Everything to my kids, I know what and I know them. And sometimes I know how to handle them. Sometimes I give them grace and mercy. Sometimes I don't. Sometimes I'm harder, so that's just the way it is. So let us go to Matthew chapter 4, verse 2. Because when we understand that the Hashitan's job is basically to try us, to test us, but he's going to test us in the most vulnerable situation that we ever have been in. He's going to put us in situations that we never thought that we'll be in, and he's going to push us to the max. And whatever decision we decide to make in that situation, lets us know who we depend on, who we trust, who we love, who we gonna rely on. It says, and when he had fasted 40 days and 40 nights, he was afterwards in hunger. Listen to that. This is talking about the physical, but also people out here are not, the rich people may not be physically hungry, but they can be spiritually hungry, emotionally hungry, logically hungry. So whatever, that hunger is not just directed to a physical without food. It could be the relationship that they have with the Father. Because you also got to understand that the temptation of Jesus right here in this section is also it's parallel to the children of Israel being in the wilderness for 40 years. And how did they respond in the wilderness for 40 years? They were murmuring, they were crying, they were bickering, they was making golden calves. So it's also a parallel story to that. So when it's a parallel story to it, it's not just craving physically. It's a spiritual thing too, because the children of Israel, when they was in the wilderness, they needed a spiritual connection to the Most High, not just a physical. Okay? So now, the Hashatan has got you in a place. He got you in the wilderness, which is considered to be a dry place. And your weakest, most vulnerable points of your life. And his job is to try you to see what you're going to do at your most vulnerable points in your life. That's what his job is to do. To put you in situations to see how you're going to respond, see how you're going to act, see what your mindset is going to be, see who you truly depend on. That was his job to do. That's what he did to Job. That's what he did to the children of Israel. That's what he do to people. He put you in situations to see how you're going to respond. And then when you respond, that's why I said in Job, let's go back to Job, because Job is very important in a situation when people are being tried and tested. Because this is what the Hashatan said in verse 8. Hold on. Let's go to verse 9 and 10 and 11. Because Job 1, 10 and 11, because the Hashatan knows that some people are going to curse the Most High because he put them in those situations. But the Most High knows his people because he knows that some of them are not going to curse him. And it says in Job 1 and 10, it says, Has not thou made an hedge about him, and about his houses, and about all that he has on every side? Thou hast blessed the works of his hand, and his substance is increased in the land? But put forth thy hands now and touch all that he has. He will curse thee to thy face. That's what the Hashatan is looking for us to do. But the Most High knows. But the Most High, the Hashatan is testing him. He's doing everything. Listen, then it says, but put forth thy hand now and touch all that he has, and he will curse thee. And Yahuwah said unto Satan, Behold, all that he has is in thy power. Only upon himself put not forth thy hand. So Satan went forth from the presence of Yahuwah. See, a lot of the time, the Most High is allowing Satan to test us at the most vulnerable points of our lives to see what we're going to actually do. Because we're getting ready to go through some vulnerable points. What's going on with this election, Donald Trump, and everything that Donald Trump is getting ready to implement. He's going to test us emotionally, physically, spiritually, and logically to see what we're going to do. See how we're going to respond. Matthew chapter 4, verse 3. A lot of us fail the test because we give in. Because it's a physical, we're looking at it as a physical thing, but it's not a physical thing, it's spiritual. And the first situation is talking about, in Matthew chapter 4, verse 3, the first 3 and 4 is talking about human needs, or the physical needs. The physical needs of life. And see, that's something that we got to look at, the physical needs of life. Okay? Then it says, the physical, this is talking about the physical needs. When the temper of the tester came to him, that's his name, the Hashatan. When the temper came to him, he said, if thou be the son of Anani, command that these stones be made bread. Why? Because he was hungry. He was physically hungry in this situation. But he answered and said, it is written, the man shall not live by bread alone, but every word that proceeded out of the mouth of Anani. Listen to that. See, we always think that we can get by just doing the physical things, but negating the spiritual side of us. If we can always just be physically satisfied, we think that we're good. But that's not always the case. We need spiritual words to help us to continue to grow and move forward. That's what this is talking. That's a physical needs. When the temper came to him and he said, if thou be the Son of God, command that these stones be made bread. But he answered and said, it is written, man shall not live by bread alone, but every word that proceeded out of... What he's saying, yes, you need bread as a physical food, but you need the word as well. Let us go to John chapter 6. Because this verse works well with that. These verses work well with that. Because it is showing you that, yes, we need the physical food, but we need the spiritual word to keep us motivated to continue to move forward in life. It says, and when Jesus or Yeshua had then lifted up his eyes and saw a great company come unto him, he said unto Philip, which shall we buy bread that...
So what? You just said John chapter 6.
John chapter 6 verses 5 through 15. It says, when Jesus then lifted up his eyes and saw a great multitude, a great company come unto him, he said unto Philip, whence shall we buy bread that these may eat? And this he said to prove him, to test him, for he himself knew what he would do. See, Jesus was even testing Philip because he understood what the people needed. But Philip didn't understand what the people needed. Philip answered him, 200 pennyworth of bread is not suffice for them, that every one of them may take a little. One of his disciples, Andrew, Simon Peter, brother, said unto him, there is a lad here which has 5 barley loaves and 2 small fishes. But what are they among so many? And Jesus said, make the men sit down. Now there was much grass in the place, so the men sat down in numbers about 5,000. Jesus took the loaves, and when he had given thanks, he distributed to the disciples, and the disciples to them that were sat down, and likewise of the fishes, as much as they would. Listen to how it was trickulated down. Jesus took the loaves, and when he had given thanks, he distributed to the disciples, and to the disciples to them that were sat down. That's the way he did with the word. Jesus gave the word to the disciples. Now the word is supposed to lead the disciples and go to the people. But we're just looking at this from the physical, but also from a spiritual sense too. When they was filled, he said unto his disciples, gather up the fragment that remained, that none be lost, listen to the verbiage, that none be lost. Therefore they gathered them together and filled 12 baskets, which represents the 12 tribes of Israel, with the fragment of the 5 barley loaves, which remained over and above unto them that had eaten. Then those men, when they had seen the miracle that Jesus did, said, This is of a truth that prophet that should come into the world. And when Jesus therefore perceived that they would come and take him by force to make him a king, he departed again into the mountains himself alone. See, Jesus just didn't do it physically. He did it spiritually as well. That's why he's telling us, yes, you can go out there and work 60, 70, 80 hours a week, but that ain't all you got to do to be able to survive in this world. Yes, I give you the physical strength to do the job that you're doing, but I am the spiritual strength that helps you overcome all the obstacles that you're going to go through. That's why he said this right here. That's why he said this right here. In John chapter 14, verse 6. It reads like this. And it says, Jesus said unto him, I am the way, the truth, and the life. No man cometh unto the Father but by me. See, the only way that we can have a divine connection to the Most High is that we got to read the Word. And the Word is Jesus. That is our spiritual fulfillment. He give us the physical abilities to go out there and do the things that we need to do to create money and income for our household. But if we don't have that spiritual connection to Him, we're going to be dead. Let me get one more. Let us go to Exodus chapter 16, verse 8. See, that the feeding of the 5,000 and 3,000, yes, we look at it as a physical, but it's also spiritual. Exodus chapter 16, verse 8. And it says that Moses said, This shall be, when Yahuwah shall give you in the evening flesh to eat, and in the morning bread to the full, for that Yahuwah heareth your murmuring, would ye murmur against him? And what are we? Your murmuring are not against us, but against Yahuwah. He said, so what he's saying is, listen to it again now. Listen to it again. And Moses said, there shall be, when Yahuwah shall give you in the evening flesh to eat, and in the morning bread to the full. It didn't say Moses did it. It says Yahuwah did it. So when we be dependent on man, it's not actually man that's doing it. It's actually Yahuwah. But we don't look at it from that way, because we're only looking at things from a physical, when things also is from the spiritual. That's why Moses said in the last part of the verse, your murmuring are not against us, but against Yahuwah. He said, your problem ain't with me, man. Your problem is with Yahuwah. So you have to deal with Yahuwah on your situation. Don't deal with it with me, because I'm not your problem. You and Yahuwah got to sit down and deal with that. So let us go back to Matthew chapter 4, verse 5. See, that's why he said, man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceeds out of the mouth of Ananiah. Because he don't want you just to think that whatever you get in life is just physical. It's spiritual as well. Okay, verse 5. Listen to the levels and how this Hashatan is taking people. Listen to the levels in which the Hashatan is doing it. Because he's starting on the ground level. Physical. It says, then the devil taking him up into the holy city, and sitteth him on a pinnacle of the temple, and said unto him, if thou be the Son of God, cast thyself down, for it is written, he shall give his angels charge concerning thee, and in their hands they shall bear thee up, lest at any time thou dash thy foot against thy stone. Jesus said unto him, it is written again, thou shalt not tempt Yahuwah thy Ananiah. And what the Most High is saying is, don't put yourself in situations that the Most High didn't ask you to go in, that he didn't put you in. And see, that is self-interest or naming and claiming it. Like the Christian church used to say all the time, girl, you just naming and claiming and God will give it to you. Girl, you just naming and claiming God will give it to you. If you just naming and claiming, God will give it to you. So let me say something to you on that. I typed in, I said, naming and claiming, is that tempting God? Yes, many theologians and Christian leaders consider naming and claiming to be a form of tempting God, as this often applies as manipulative approach to praying where individuals demand specific outcomes from God, essentially putting their desires above God's sovereign will and testing his power to deliver them exactly to deliver exactly what they want, regardless of whether it's aligned with his plans or not. So when we out here have this idea about naming and claiming it, you first have to ask, is it in the Father's will that it be done? Matthew 26 and 39. See, when Yahuwah was on the mountain and he was getting ready to go to the cross, and he saw the vision of where he was getting ready to go. He saw what he was getting ready to go through in life. He didn't name it and claim it. He said, I'm going to claim that I be free and I ain't got to go through that. He didn't do that. That's self-interest. And Jesus and Yeshua understood that it was never about him, but it was always about him. And I said this last week. It was never about him, but it was always about him. And when you start naming and claiming it, you putting your desires over the Most High's desires for your life. Okay, and it says in Matthew chapter 26, verse 39, it says, and he went a little farther and fell on his face, prayed, saying, O my Father, if it be possible, let this cup pass from me. Nevertheless, not as I will, but as thy will. See, a lot of the times, we want what we want, and we think what we want is more what beneficial for us than what the Most High wants for us. Okay, let me read you something. I Googled something today, right? Yesterday. I said the welfare state encouraged women not to marry. The welfare state is a system that came from the United States government that enticed women not to get married, but to depend on the United States government for the benefits. So when a woman don't want a man over them and being in charge of them, the women decide to go to the government for help. Okay, so when they decided to go to the government for help, they was out of order against the Most High. Okay, and it says, I said the welfare state encouraging women not to get married. Yes, the welfare state can discourage women from marrying by financially incentivizing low-income couples to remain unmarried. And the women also did it because the simple fact is they did not want a man to be over them. And that is out of the order of the Most High. That's why most women do what they want to do, how they want to do it, the way they want to do it, because the simple fact is women do not want men to be over them, even though the Most High said man is head of the house. Man is head of wife. Wife is head of children. But not the woman not realizing that she's actually following the system of the devil and listening to the devil and being tempted by the devil because of a few pennies. Then I did one more. I said women get more benefits from the government. Women receive more benefits from the government than men in several ways, including Social Security benefits, income, poverty, survival insurance. Everything that women get, a lot of the things that if a single woman who's not married that got kids, she's getting things from the government which entice her not to be a part of the system. That's why most women get a divorce, because the simple fact is they feel like they can get alimony, they feel like they can get child support, they feel like they can get half of the man's income. So that will entice her to be able to leave the man and leave her coverings. And see, she's not realizing that she's being tempted by the devil to do those things. Just like in the 60s when crack cocaine came in. The brothers started selling drugs and started doing all these other things and destroying the community. Because they was being enticed by the Hashatan to get this money, because they glorified selling drugs and pimping women as if it was something. But it was destroying the families. It was destroying the community. But they was also being tempted by the devil. So let's go back to Matthew. Let me go to a couple of verses in Matthew chapter 4, verse 6 and 7. I got 10-20 minutes. And said unto him, Thou shalt be the Son of God. If thou be the Son of God, cast thyself down. For it is written, He shall give His angels charge concerning thee, and in their hands they shall bear thee up, lest at any time thou dash thy foot against a stone. And Yeshua said unto him, It is written again, Thou shalt not tempt Yahuwah thy Adonai. Let us go to Exodus chapter 16. No, let us go to Numbers chapter 14. See, when the woman wanted to get food stamps, she could not get it because she couldn't have a man in the house. But who told her don't have a man in the house? The government. Who's controlling the government? The Hashatan. But the Hashatan was tempting a woman by not allowing a man to be in the house. That's why she's considered to be easy prey, because she don't have no covering. Numbers 14 and 22, because of those men which have seen my glory and my miracles, which I did in Egypt and in the wilderness, and have tempted me now these 10 times, and have not hearkened to my voice. We tempt Yahuwah when we don't say, let thy will be done. If we operate out of our own lust and our own arrogancy and our own pride, we tempt Yahuwah. That's what happens. Crack cocaine came in during the time of the Black Panthers party. And when the Black Panthers started, they started to initiate the crack cocaine epidemic into our community because they wanted to destroy the movement that was going on in our community, because they saw that we was moving in one unity. They saw that it was a movement, so they brought the crack cocaine into our community, and it came up under the COINTELPRO. It came up under the a lot of other different organizations, because they didn't want to fund Nicaragua war. So what they did was they said that they're going to bring the crack cocaine into our community so they can kill two birds, one stone. They can fund the Nicaragua war, and they can get black men out the street and put them in jail and destroy the community, because during the 60s, the black families were thriving during that time period. And the black man decided to say, I want to be glorified and be a pimp, because that's the time, during the time of the pimps coming into play. I wanted to be a pimp. And he started glorifying men and started wearing all these high heel shoes and all this other stuff. Let us go to Psalms 78. Because when we operating out of the will of the Spirit of the great of the Most High, we asking, let my will be done and not yours. We're operating out of order. We're doing it because of lust, of our own selfish desires. And they tempted Ananias in their minds by asking meat for their lust. And that's the only thing, that's the reason why we do things. A lot of things that we do is because out of lust, we want to be recognized and we want to be able to be acknowledged for whatever's going on. I want this and I want that. I want to be glorified. That's why we do things. Because we want to be glorified for whatever it is and not let the Most High have the glorification. Let's go to Hebrews chapter 3. Anytime we don't say, let thy Father, whatever thy will be done, let it be done. I want this because of that. Let it be done in your will. Hebrews chapter 3 verse 9, it says, when your father tested me, and saw my works for 40 years, wherefore I will grieve with that generation, and said, they do always err in their minds, and they have not known my ways. A lot of times, when we're doing things out of self-will, we'll never understand the Most High. It's like me. What I'm going through, I never understand the Most High because I'm doing things out of my ways. I'm doing things because how I want it, the way I want it. And that's not what the Most High is doing behind closed doors, behind the scenes. He's working on 2 individuals, 3 individuals at one time, but we can't see it because we're only thinking about ourselves. How can it be manifested right if we're just trying to do what I want? But it's about Him. Matthew chapter 4 verse 8. And I got about 5 minutes, 10 minutes. I got 15 minutes. Then it says, again the devil taking him up into an exceedingly high mountain. Now he was in the city. First he dealt with the food, the physical needs. Then he dealt with the high places of trying to tempt him to be in a self-interest of lusting from a lust viewpoint, or a job or position or something. Now it says, again the devil taking him up into an exceedingly high mountain and shewed him all the kingdoms of the world. Listen to that. All the kingdoms of the world and the glory of them. And said unto him, all these things will I give thee, if thou wilt fall down and worship me. Then said Yeshua unto him, get thee hence, Satan, for it is written, thou shalt worship the Lord thy Adonai, and him only shalt thou serve. See, that's the thing here. I Googled something. Women make up 80% of the black church. Yes, women make up majority of the black church congregation, but holds a small percentage of leadership roles. Congregation, black women make up 50 to 90% of the church, black church congregations. Black women are a central and vital part of the black church. In the 19th century, women represents around 80 to 90% of the congregation, and yet church leadership is 80 to 90% men. But Ephesians 6 and 12. For we wrestle not against flesh and blood, but against principalities, against powers, against the worldly governors, and the princes of the darkness of this world, and against spiritual wickedness, which are in high places. See, we don't realize that the 501c3 is connected to the government. Section 501c3 is a portion of the United States Internal Revenue Code that allows the federal government exemption of nonprofit organizations that meet the code requirement. These nonprofit organizations, these nonprofits may be considered public, charity, private foundation, or privately operating foundations, which we'll explain in more detail. That means that everything that the 501c3 had, everything that they do got to go through the government and be permitted by the government to be able to function in the way that they want them to function in order for them to function. If they're out of line with the United States government, they cannot get any funding from the government. So when you're talking about the worldly governors, you're talking about the government. Who control the churches? The government control the churches. Who's part of the who's running the churches? Who's 89% of the church congregation? Women. See, when we go back to Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden, when the serpent tempted Eve, that's what this is talking about, the temptation. You're tempting God. And you're tempting God to be in high places and be in positions that you know you should not be in, because that's not the divine order. Let us go to Deuteronomy chapter 6. I'm finna get ready to close because I want to give you something what the Most High just gave me. It says, thou shalt fear Yahuwah thy Adonai and serve him, and shalt swear by his name, and ye shall not go after other gods, and of the gods of the people which are around about you. Listen to that. Ye shall not go after other gods, of the people which are around about you. Round about you, the people gods that's around about you. Now we serving Christianity, which is part of the other gods, other people gods that's round about us. Who gave us an image of a homosexual? Let us go to Joshua chapter 24. This is the last one. Joshua chapter 24, verse 14. It says, now therefore fear Yahuwah and serve him in sincerity and in truth, and put away the gods which your fathers served on the other side of the flood, and in Egypt, and serve ye Yahuwah. See, people only look at this situation here as we're talking about Egypt, right? But what Yahuwah just showed me was some people are serving the same religion that their parents are serving. Christianity. Our parents brought us up in Christianity, so I'm following Christianity. So my mama don't celebrate Thanksgiving, so I'm going to celebrate Thanksgiving. My mama don't celebrate Christmas, so I'm going to celebrate Christmas. My mama don't celebrate New Year's and Easter, so I'm going to celebrate New Year's and Easter. That's what that verse is saying. Now therefore fear Yahuwah and serve him in sincerity and in truth, and put away the gods which your fathers served on the other side of the flood. See, our parents' religion have got us in this situation that we're in today because we haven't let go of their religion. And religion just means a way of life. And see, I'm finna get ready to conclude with this, right? The last verse, go back to Matthew chapter 4. Chapter 4, verse 11. It says, then the angels leaveth him, and behold, angels came and ministered unto him. See, when you are able to fight off the temptations of the world, the Most High will be there for you. But as long as you continue to deal with and buy into the temptations of the world that the government gives you, that all these organizations give you, and what the world and your friends give you, you're going to continue to be repeating the cycle until you get it right. But as long as you continue to fight out the temptations of the world and understand that you're just going through a life experience of tests. That's all you're going through, just to purify you and cleanse you, to get you to think on a higher level. You will be better. But Most High showed me this was out when I was in the bathroom, right? Mike Tyson and whatever that guy was fighting last night, whoever he was fighting, right? Both of these guys had 6 months to prepare for this fight. Both of these guys had 6 months to prepare for the fight. And Mike Tyson, listen to the scenario. Listen to the scenario. Mike Tyson was put into a scenario, a situation, that he's getting ready to go into a fight, tribulations, testing moment, a fight with this other guy on November the 15th, the night of a full moon. And Mike Tyson said, yes, I'm going to commit to this fight. Mike Tyson said, I'm going to train for this fight, 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 I'm going to train for this fight. Some ladies ask, Mike, you think you're going to win the fight? I'm going to knock him out. I'm going to do this to him, and I'm going to do that to him, and I'm going to knock him out, and I'm going to do this to him, and I'm going to do that to him, and I'm going to knock him out. And then we saw how Mike would train for the fight. We saw all these highlights of Mike training for the fight. He would put it on YouTube and all this, that, and the other. As soon as the fight came, Mike lost the fight. See, we can always talk the talk. can we walk the walk? Because as soon as the moment that you're being put in a situation where you got to show your faith in you and in yourself, are you going to be able to come through with it? And see, Mike wasn't able to come through with the fight last night because he recognized that he wasn't even equipped to fight the fight. His mouth got him in situations where he wasn't even able to win the fight. The word weak means having little physical strength, not able to bear a weight, lacking authority and moral strength. Mike wasn't able to fight the fight even though he talked the talk, but he couldn't walk the walk. See, a lot of us say, I'm the child of God, and I'm this, and I'm that, and the Most High love me, and I'm this, and I'm that, and I'm this, and I'm that. But the moment you're put to the test, the moment you got to get into that ring and fight that fight, are you going to be able to win or lose? And see, a lot of us lose the fight because we don't prepare for the test. And we don't understand that it is a test. Mike wasn't able to win. Mike wasn't capable of winning because he wasn't equipped to win. And see, that's the way a lot of us are because we don't sit down and study the word of Yahuwah. And because we think that it's a physical thing when it has more to do with spiritual discipline. Because that's all disciple means. Disciple means discipline. That's all it means. In the moment that you think that you're going to, every time that you get put to a test or a fight, majority of us fail. Because we're not equipped to fight. We're not able to say, but he answered and said, it is written, man shall not live by bread alone, but by every word that proceeded out of the mouth of Ananiah. See, our women didn't tell the government that. I'm not going to depend on you, government. I'm going to depend on the word of Yahuwah, and I'm going to get myself with my husband, or whoever I'm having these children with. No, they went to the government. Okay? Women, and then it says, and Jesus said unto him, it is written that thou shalt not tempt Yahuwah thy Ananiah. And see, when men were selling that dope and that crack in our community, we didn't say, I'm not going to tempt the Most High with one had these lustful things. We just went out there and sold dope because we thought that was the best thing to do. Because we wanted the lust, we wanted the fashion, we wanted the look, we wanted all these things. We wanted the nice fancy cars and clothes. But then it says, in verse 10, then said Jesus unto him, get thee thence, Satan, from what is written, thou shalt worship Yahuwah thy Ananiah, and him only shalt thou serve. See, nobody, that's why 2 in Timothy is so important, 2 Timothy and 15. Study to show thyself approved, rightly dividing. Study to show thyself approved unto Ananiah, a workman that needed not to be ashamed, rightly dividing the word of Ananiah, the word of truth. If we did everything right, we won't have to worry about this stuff. If we studied, we'll understand. We wouldn't be looking for the church to teach us that's connected to the government with a 501c3. Abba, we come to you, we thank you, we bless you, we praise you, we give y'all the honor and the glory. Abba, we thank you for everything you have done, what you continue to do. Abba, help us to pass the test. Continue to put us in a situation where we got to fight so that we can show you that we deserve your glory. Abba, we ask that you continue to lead us and guide us and bless us and cover us. But just let your will be done and give us wisdom and knowledge and understanding. Let us hear the way you want us to hear, see the way you want us to see, and speak the way you want us to speak. And all these things we pray in Yahuwah's name. So let it be. Shalom, shalom, shalom.